Hey, what's up? This is Mick, and you're listening to Piedmont Artist Profiles on Snow Peak Radio. Get my mic right. All right, so this is the first edition of Songwriter Circle, a new concept I'm going to try as a format for the show, where I bring a couple singer-songwriters in and talk to them about their craft. So today I have with me Mr. Don Eidman and Mitch Hayes. How you guys doing?
Doing great.
Right on. Don, you're going to have to move that mic a little closer
And
to
you
you.
might need to kick that guitar case out of your way before you trip on it.
Is that all right now?
Yeah, that's fine. That's
road
fine.
hazard.
So Don, I've known you for a few months now. You're one of the first people I met in the scene. Why don't you talk a little bit about yourself, where you're from, and all that.
I'm originally from Baltimore, Maryland. And from Baltimore, I went into the Air Force and traveled throughout the United States and the world. And then after that, I ended up living in West Virginia, and I went to college in West Virginia. And then I was working in West Virginia and ended up in Hickory, North Carolina. And then I ended up in Concord, Kannapolis area. Been here about almost pushing 30 years, I guess.
Cool. What about you, Mitch?
Born in Raleigh. My dad was in sales, so there's 4 of us kids. We were all born in different states. He would get promoted and transferred, but I grew up most of my life in North Carolina, in the Raleigh area. I was born in Charlotte, not Raleigh, and I lived most of my life in the Raleigh area. Went to high school there and everything. Pretty much after that, I did some traveling. I spent a couple of years over in Europe. Spent some time out in California and Arizona and that area. I've lived in a number of states, but the Carolinas are home.
Right. Very nice. So how long have you been writing songs?
Well, let's see. On my last CD, Heroes, the first track is Look at You, and I wrote that song, I think, about 43 years ago.
Man.
So a long time.
What about you, Don? How long?
My first song was when I was 14 years old. It was on the dark side. Wouldn't you find that surprising, right? And it was about a dog that got run over. I don't know why, but I took the guitar and I wrote a song.
You never write anything dark, Don.
No, I'm not very dark at all.
You, Don. No.
But that was my first realization that you could express yourself without having to get up and talk to people. You could, express yourself with music.
Right. Were you already playing guitar or something at the time?
Yes.
Okay.
The guitar is a funny story. My brother was getting lessons, and I was playing clarinet. And I wanted to play guitar, but of course, I didn't have the money, and my parents didn't have the money at the time for the guitar. And my brother would work. So what I would do when he went to work is I would go under and steal his guitar and start playing it, and then put it right back in the case before he got home. And then one day he was out there playing guitar for his girlfriend, and he was being a look at me kind of guy.
Yeah.
And I said, "Can I see your guitar?" And he goes, "Yeah, you can't play it though." And I picked it up and I outdid him. I was popping off chords you never knew.
Wow.
So that was my childhood memories of my first experience for guitars.
Yeah. What about you, Mitch? You play other instruments?
I do. In fact, when I was a teenager, barely a teenager, like 13, my brother had a garage band. He was younger than me. I must have been 14 and him 13. But he had a garage band that they were practicing one day, and I just went with them to practice just to hang out. And I saw a set of drums. I just jumped on the drums and started playing it. Never had a lesson and found I could play. My parents walked in near the end of the rehearsal, and their jaws dropped. So they bought me a set of drums for my next birthday. So it was drums for a long time because back then the chicks loved the drummer. I mean, the drummer's got all the girls, right? So that was pretty, It worked. It worked pretty well when I was a teenager.
We gotta admit, why did most of us get into music?
Because chicks like the
Because of
musicians. That's true. But then I discovered, when I got into high school, I saw these guys sitting around in circles playing their guitars and singing songs they had written. And I'm like, whoa, this is really cool.
Yeah.
So I decided I really wanted to learn how to play. And I discovered the coffee house scene. Remember back in the in the
indeed,
60s and
yes.
70s, that was the big thing. And
Yep, Baltimore,
well, if you were
yes.
going to be in the coffee house scene, you had to play the guitar and you had to write your stuff
And
you
smoke
had to,
marijuana.
well, yeah, I reckon we did a little of that too.
A
But
few other things.
a few others. But anyway, that's kind of what got me started on guitar and got me started writing lyrics. And I say that "Look at You" was my first. "Look at You" was my first real song. I played around with and wrote, the dinky, the stupid "I love you, don't you love me" type songs that a teenager talks about.
Yeah.
But my first serious song was "Look at You."
Like the zippity doo dah songs is what
Right.
Television used to say.
Well, like the Beatles, "I Want to Hold Your Hand" type
Yeah,
stuff,
yeah.
Poppy, the pop stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, Mitch. So you brought a song to play for us today. You want to go ahead and introduce that?
That song is "All Fall Down." It's on my latest CD, Heroes. That song was the birth of that song was back when Ferguson, Missouri happened, and that kid was shot by the cop. Fast forward to Jacksonville and Trayvon Martin, and fast forward to Charlotte and Keith Scott, and that was all brewing in my head. It's just like we were talking about earlier about just social. The stuff that's going on in society that's just not good. But it was more than that, though. That the day I wrote that song, these were brewing in my head, and I sat down to watch the news, and it was story after story about wars that we had no business being in, stuff the CIA was doing, gang violence on TV, and all this stuff just boiled up in me. And I'm thinking, we should be so far past this as a society, as a civilized society, and yet this stuff still goes on. And I was so angry I wrote that song.
But didn't you also kind of lose hope after Sandy Hook when 20 kids got killed and there was a big screen and nothing happened? Nothing happened. Yeah, and we still have like 40 kids shot daily and 7 to 8 of them killed every day.
And what I wanted to
Nothing
do was
happens.
write something that would not just illustrate the problem, but hopefully offer some hope.
Yes, and the fact that we do have to stand together,
Right.
because we will fall down. And I love that song. I always did. First time I heard it, I told you it was a great friggin' song. The only thing wrong with that song is I didn't write it. I wish I would have wrote it. Damn, I wish I would have wrote that song.
I'd like to believe in the goodness of man, but sometimes I see things I don't understand. How some people can be so hateful and cruel. Don't know how to live by the golden rule. It's time we put down the weapons of war. Please tell me now, what the hell are we fighting for? When street thugs can gun down innocent lives, and there's nowhere to run to, nowhere to hide. Are we all just spinning Do we all fall down, down to the ground? Now I'm growing old, but hopefully wise, knowing I'm being sold nothing but lies. Truth is we all have a reason to live. Truth is we all have something to give. Boy, we all just go spinning around. Boy, we all fall down, down to the ground, down to the ground.
So, over the years, obviously digital media has been a huge change. But what would you say, other than that, songwriting wise, has changed?
I think honestly that especially the people I listen to, they just get better and better and better, stronger and stronger. People like Ryan Adams and the kind of the stuff I like to listen to. Steve Earle. I mean, I just think people today, well, at least not at mainstream media, they don't really care anything but if it's got a beat and it's got a good hook. But
Yeah.
people that really listen to music and appreciate good lyrics have driven it, I think, to get better and force artists to be more serious about their craft. Now, that's at least my take on it.
What do you think, Don?
Well, I think because I am what I would say a social folk writer, I like to address social issues. Unfortunately, the tunes have changed, the styles have changed, but the message hasn't changed that much.
Yeah.
And here we are, many years later, and we're still talking about freedom and rights.
Mm-hmm.
And
That's true.
Now we're talking about the possibility of a nuclear war again. And I remember when we were doing anti-nuke songs in the 60s and early 70s, and then we thought it was over with, and now here we are again.
Yeah.
You know,
It's a shame.
so
1, 2, 3. What are we fighting for?
yeah,
That
the
stuff.
war,
Yeah.
What's really encouraging to me about, and I've known Don, we banter a lot on social media, but is that a fly?
I got him.
I was on the mic. That was perfect.
Yeah.
So what encourages me is I've lost faith in a lot of boomers and that generation, your guys' generation, because it's like a lot of them in the 60s stood up for something, and then whatever happened in the 70s and 80s, they've turned into what they were fighting against.
Exactly.
You know, a
You're
lot
very
of
right.
my mom's friends are like that, and I don't understand it. I've seen pictures of who you were as a kid. How did you
What happened?
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Where are you and what did you do with my mother? You
Yeah.
know? Who are you and what did you do with my mother?
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
How
Yeah.
do we get
Oh, yeah.
back here? So at least there's lots of motivation for songwriting right now.
Well, I was fortunate because I was raised by extremely liberal parents. My mom when they were in Baltimore and they were fighting against discrimination and letting everybody and anybody go into the public school system. My mom, they say, was walking around with a baby in a blue baby carriage, and I was that little baby in the blue baby carriage. And I got an honest thing. I mean, I was raised a liberal, and I still am a liberal, and I'm glad to be a liberal, and I don't deny it, and people know.
Right.
And most of my tunes are certainly swing to the left.
Yeah. My mom used to sing protest songs to me as a baby. So
Sure.
Masters of War and things like
Yes,
that.
yes.
I think we still need to stand up for what's right. I think that's what it comes down to. And I think that's what you're trying to say. Is
Yeah.
We need to stand up for what's right.
I think it's our job as
think so.
musicians.
Yeah.
Now, I'm
And
not.
songwriters.
I would describe myself as a social liberal and a fiscal conservative, which Don and I have had this conversation a million times.
That's where I'm at for the most part, too.
You know, I think we need fiscal conservatism in this country, or we're just going to, you know, the debt will just keep skyrocketing. But when it comes to social issues and to things that are important, you know, it's like my friend once said, everything you need to know in life, you learned in kindergarten. Play nice, be fair, share your toys, you know, give, don't hate, don't lie. Those values are still, I think we still need to put that in our music.
Yeah.
Yes,
You can
yes.
be fiscally conservative and compassionate at the same time.
Yes, you sure can.
And that,
Well, as you know, some of my songs, I lean towards the coal miners.
yeah.
Right.
And I think it's very odd that we have a president, I guess we can talk freely, right?
Yes, absolutely.
We
Open
have a
forum.
president who's worried about 77,000 coal mining jobs, but he don't care much. He don't worry about the 3.1 million public school teachers' jobs.
Right.
And I just and things like that's what made me write. Especially today, we know what happened today.
Yeah.
The day Trump care is getting a lot closer than it ever has been before. So this is a crazy day for me to be here because I got my little flag flying, you know?
Yeah, I knew you'd be on the chip
Yeah.
as I watched the news progress throughout the day. All right, Don, you also brought a song for us today. Go ahead and introduce that.
Well, actually, it's Inside Your Car, and I performed it with you one time, and you asked me to do it tonight.
Yeah.
So I had to. I mean, but it's about the song, about the fact that I remember years ago when I was a kid in Baltimore, we were playing in the schoolyard, and we lived near the highway, and when the highway was blocked, people had no other alternative but to drive past our little schoolyard. And we lived right outside the bottoms of Baltimore, a place called Pigtown, and I'm proud of it. And once in a while you see a big Chrysler or a big Caddy or something very luxurious car drive past the schoolyard, and they look at us. And even as a kid, I thought, wow, wonder what they see. And I thought, how would it be nice to be in their envy, I guess, you know, as kids do. And then when I got older, that thought was always kind of in me. And then I remember seeing the Pope mobile, him waving, and then I remember seeing all these world leaders waving to people, but they had all this protection on, and it was the inside of your car. And that's like I said, it's like the rich are we're in a fishbowl, and the rich are watching us, and we're inside that bubble. But they're inside, they're on the outside looking in, and they're protected, and they have no idea what we're going through.
Insulated from.
Insulated, very good. Yes.
How can it be that some have all, while others struggling have none? Why do some cry through the night, while others are out having fun? Is it right to have a full plate? We got children going to bed starved. Oh, the hard road is so easy to take from the inside of your car. Here we are in comfort and warmth, where others are out in the cold. Why do we give it all to the young by taking it away from the old? Some are standing upon firm ground, others are hanging by strings. It's so easy to soar above if you're the one with the wings. But it's okay, just look the other way if it's not happening to you. Oh, that hard life is so easy to take if you're just hanging around for the view. Some live nightmares and others live dreams. Some they just barely survive. Then the few who get all the lucky breaks, where others are always denied. And there's some who can run to the prize, others they can barely crawl. Oh, that tightrope is so easy to walk with a net below if you fall. Some are placed on the mountaintop, others they always must climb. The hard-working folks who can never slow down, but the others, they just take their time. And there's some whose skies are blue, while others have all rainy days. Oh, how can they feel the sun when the clouds get in the way? But it's okay, just look the other way if it's not happening to you. Oh, that hard road is so easy to take if you're just hanging around for the view. And there's some who grab that gold ring, for others it's just out of reach. And the righteous ones who live on the dark side, but still they'll continue to preach. Now the rich is getting it all, this has gone way too far. Oh, the hard road is so easy to take from the inside of your car. Yeah, the hard road is so easy to take from the inside of your car. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Nice, Don.
Thank you, sir.
So in the 80s, we lamented that the video killed the radio star. And I would argue that radio killed the local star. You know, it turned it into this big, huge thing. Do you think digital media and where we've gotten, who dies next? I think that digital media kills the big labels and brings it back. It's almost like a full circle to me.
I would hope to see that. I would definitely hope to see it. The labels, the whole thing, it's just, I've said this in my shows a number of times, but the thing that, to me, that ruined or is destroying the music industry is that it became an industry.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it wasn't an industry back in Laurel Canyon when you had, you know, people like Joni Mitchell and Graham Nash and all those guys writing Steve Stills writing all these powerful songs. And Bob Dylan would never get through the first round in American Idol.
No.
Never.
Thank God.
Never. You know, and I think what you're saying is true. I think the labels are too powerful, and they only care about one thing. They care about that formulaic approach to music that produces hits. Mm-hmm. But then they define what hits are, and then they have amazing marketing campaigns telling you and you and you and you, this is a hit. You have to think it is. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? So I think you're right. I think digital media has a shot at doing some damage to that, hopefully.
I think that's why they're scared of it. I think that's why you see net neutrality and things like that kind of start to slip away. And can you imagine in 15, 20 years if there's bootleg flash drives? You know, if you can't get local music or the music you want, if you're only force-fed, because, I don't know, I don't want to get too dark, but it seems like everything's that way. The kids' toys, like, this is the toy this year.
Yes.
Right,
the kids didn't say, hey, I want that toy. It's
you
we're
need a
telling you
spinner.
in October, this is the toy to buy your kid.
And you gotta have a spinner. If you're
But then the
Yeah.
kids believe it because
Yeah.
they're
Good
told that
parent,
they're
you
For
have
supposed
one of
sure.
those spinners.
Because this fancy video on TV told them that's the toy, and it's probably awesome. you know. But
It's all about marketing and brand,
yeah,
even in the music business now.
yeah, the brand.
But there's a sacrifice. I mean, if we don't have the larger record companies eventually and all that, then there will not be any money in the music business, which it doesn't bother me because I'm already 66. But for these young kids, and there's a lot of the talent these young kids have nowadays is amazing.
Yeah,
I mean, I don't know where these kids write. They get so much wisdom in life to write some of the songs I write, but
True.
they're absolutely amazing. And you know they have stars in their eyes, and they should have stars in their eyes. But are they going to make a living like they would have 40 years ago if they were the same writers? I don't think so.
right.
It's going to be self-promotion, and you're going to have to push your own self.
Yeah,
You're going to push your own product.
it may actually end up being like a leveling of the playing field,
It might just
where
start over again.
the uber rich come down and the guys
Right.
that are local start to make a little bit
Exactly.
more. Hopefully,
Exactly.
hopefully that's what we see.
I'd like to see that.
It's all a circle.
Yeah,
I'm like Don. I'm 63 years old, so you know I've maybe got 20 more years of this, and then that'll be it. But I'd like to see some of these kids coming up with the amazing ideas they have,
Oh,
and
yeah.
have a chance to make it, and have a chance to put their stamp on it.
yeah.
Yeah.
I saw some bands this weekend at Groove in the Madness Festival that were, I mean, sub 20-year-old kids that were just, you could hear so many influences in them. This one band was like Sonic Youth, Led Zeppelin at the same time. So it's just, I got in a discussion with a guy, and the rock gods didn't have rock gods.
No.
None of those guys back in the 60s had gods to look up to. They were making it. So as we progress, I think genres are going to be knocked over, and we're just going to have crazy music.
Well, there's so much out there that you can't even define what it is.
Yeah.
There's broad categories, like I would classify myself as Americana. There's country, which is not going to go away, and there's some good country out there, but
yeah.
there's some that's not so good. But I mean, those big, all-encompassing, rock genres may. But I think within those walls, those boxes, kids are already thinking outside of it.
But in all honesty, about us growing up learning guitar versus these younger kids growing up learning guitar, is that we had to struggle for every song we wanted to learn.
Right.
I remember putting a record
And play it
and
over
put
and
it in
over
neutral,
and
and
over.
put it in neutral, and taking your thumb and to get the leads and get to and that. I remember listening to a song over and over and over and over to learn the lyrics.
And now they can just go
Go
on
on
YouTube and how do
Yeah.
I play this song? And
Right.
Exactly.
18,000 videos come up to tell them
Right.
how to play Stairway to Heaven.
And again, and no disrespect to the young, there's some young guitar players out there who can play, and even any of them. There's a lot of guitar players who play lick, 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 like you wouldn't believe. But there's no harp.
Right.
And I think you get that harp from the struggle. And the old saying, you got to pay your dues to play the blues.
Well, it's like when I was out in Nashville a couple weeks ago. I got to play some shows out there. In fact, self-promotion time, I got invited to do a songwriters round at the Commodore Grill in October, which
Very
is
nice.
a big deal.
There's
And-
bigger things for you going on too. Why don't you share it?
We'll see, but
I ain't gonna share.
I don't know. What was I going to say? You talked about the heart. I was talking to a Nashville producer, and he was telling me, he says, I told him, look, I'm not fooling myself. I am not the darling of what music wants today. I'm not good looking. I'm not young. I'm not, he says, no, but you have experience. These kids, a lot of them, don't have they can't write from something they haven't had. They can't write the beginning and the middle and the end of your life. You can.
Yeah.
So there, I believe we have the edge, like you say, the heart. But still, Don, there's some amazing young kids out there that just write way
There's some
above their
kids-
years.
I call them old souls.
Yeah.
They're young, but and there's like a poet that runs around here. I mean, she's very well thought of. Shane.
Shane, yeah.
What a soul this girl has.
Oh, Shane's
I mean,
amazing.
It's amazing, and she's what 30,
If
maybe?
that, yeah, right around there.
And she's got the wisdom of an 80-year-old.
But when she opens her mouth, you are just spellbound
Yeah,
by what
yeah.
comes out of it.
Shout out to Shane.
Shane, she's a friend of everybody here.
Spellbound by
Yeah.
what comes out.
And an amazing artist as well.
I kind of talking like where you were just talking about. I was at Studio 13 a while back, and there was a girl. she might have been 15 or 16, but she was singing about a breakup, and it was so raw because you could tell like this girl just actually went through her first probably real breakup in her life. So you can kind of see like the change from her. If she was singing it 3 or 4 years ago, she'd just be singing words, but you could tell that pain was in her.
Right.
And I think that you're 100% right. That's where great music comes from, is the heart.
You have to experience it to be able to write about it, I think.
But do you all think that they always say 50 is the new 40 and all that stuff? Do you also think maybe 15 is the new 20? I
Yeah.
mean, some of these kids,
Yeah.
the stuff they're exposed to,
That's true too.
TV, politics, the news. A lot of times when we were that young, we didn't hear about all the world problems like that. It wasn't there in your face.
I know I lived a fairly protected life when I was a
Yeah,
teenager.
yeah.
I don't think kids today have as protected a life
I
as
don't
we
think
have.
they can.
Yeah.
I don't think they can.
The shields are kind of pulled down.
Yes.
I mean, my parents never cared what we did. I mean, we'd be summertime. We'd eat breakfast. We were gone. We'd come back for lunch, maybe, or at someone else's house, and then we were gone. And then we were back again, maybe at dinner, and then we were gone again. It'd be well after dark, and they didn't worry about us.
Right.
Today, if a kid's gone, something bad, you're worried something bad's going to happen to them.
Well, yeah.
And they have to live with that fear. Society has to live with, and I think that kids are being forced to grow up earlier than we had to. I
Right.
think.
And I don't know that that's always a good thing.
And then again, here we go back to, everybody didn't carry a gun when we were kids.
Nope.
Yeah.
Nowadays, what is America's like 1/5 of the
Well,
population? We have 50% of the
Even
guns.
as short ago as when I was a kid, the NRA taught like hunter safety and responsibility. They weren't a big lobby group.
Yes.
So everything has been bought up, and as everything gets more and more corporate, it gets bigger, and there's no soul in any of these businesses anymore.
Oh, no.
There's
Oh,
still
no.
some guys out there. I think Elon Musk, who's a rich,
Yes,
wealthy guy, I think he
yes,
has a good heart.
yes.
But some of these businesses, like the Waltons that own Walmart, that are just faceless.
Koch brothers,
Yeah, the Koch brothers.
the Mercer family.
Sam Walton would roll over in his grave if he saw what was happening to Walmart.
For sure.
Okay, we back?
And we're back.
So you were saying
Okay.
about faceless.
There's just like faceless corporations, there's heartless. We fire executives and give them more money
Oh, yeah.
as a a going away present than
Yeah.
most people make in their life.
Yes.
And we act like we can't afford things, and we can totally afford things.
Well, yeah, like
and I
healthcare.
hate to even talk about capping wealth or anything as a fiscal conservative. That shit freaks me out. But there has to be some responsibility. There's too many people to keep going the way we're going. It's not going to work.
Well, I think right now, with this present administration and the religious right evangelicals, and I'm not saying anything anti-Christian at all.
No.
What I'm saying is there is the Seventh Mountain Movement, or the mandate, which they want to put their people in high positions of business.
Mm-hmm.
You got people in business, like education. They entirely want to take over education. They want to get rid of public school education.
Yeah.
They want to get rid of Social Security. They want to get
It doesn't make any. It's just it's so
They want to
nefarious.
take, and it's easy for them to take. It's so easy to soar above when you're the one with the wings.
Yeah.
The song
Yeah.
I wrote tonight, that I did. It's what it's all about. It's the fact that it's people who are rich, filthy rich, are on the outside looking in at us, and we're in this fishbowl, and we're just like a bunch of ants working, moving around, trying to make it, and these people outside the fishbowl are just using us for entertainment
Right.
and laughing at us.
Right.
It seems.
And you said something about religion. There's a difference between religion and real faith.
Oh my gosh, yes.
100%.
Yes.
You read the words of Jesus. They don't sound much like what you hear
The preachers
preached on TV
Some of the
today.
preachers,
some,
yeah,
some,
right.
some, not all.
Right.
And I'm not bashing anybody. I'm just saying that there's a difference between
Yeah.
religion is a construct of man.
Right.
Faith is something wholly different from
Exactly.
Yeah.
And very, very true.
That's why I kind of stick with I'm a spiritual agnostic. Like I don't believe any one thing. I was raised Catholic, so I've read the Bible many times, and I think the message of Jesus is a beautiful message. But I mean, can you trust any of it with what's written today and then how many hands it's been through? You play telephone in a room of 5 people.
I can plug a book.
Yeah.
I just finished reading a great book called The Religious Right, The Greatest Threat to Democracy by A.F. Alexander. And it was really a moving book.
Yeah.
And then Dark Money is another good book to read. I read a lot of books, and most of them is certainly left-sided. You know, I won't deny.
You damn lefty.
I'm a lefty.
You pinko commie.
Oh, no.
Well, now the right's friends with the ex-commies. This is a mad world.
Oh, my gosh, yes.
So let's do a little self-promotion. Mitch, what do you got coming up?
Well, what I've got coming up, I have, well, like I said, I'll be going out to Nashville to be playing in that songwriter round. I've got a song that's gotten a lot of airplay, a couple of them that have gotten a lot of airplay, and I've got one that's being submitted this month for a potential Grammy nomination, but it's being submitted. It may go no further than that, and more than likely won't, because I'm a small fish, and like what you said a minute ago about the way the labels control everything. But at least someone thought enough of it to say this needs to be submitted, and I'm proud of that. I perform solo as a duo with my daughter, as a trio with my daughter, and Aaron Hayes, and an amazing guitar player by the name of Mike Alec. The trio is really our best show, and we're doing some stuff where I'm playing more and more out of this area and more statewide, and I've got my sights on South Carolina, Virginia, Florida, going out to Austin and doing some shows. I mean, I'm working on some things that are going that direction, New York City, trying to get my music beyond just the confines of, you know, I live in Midland, but Charlotte, essentially.
Right. What about you, Don?
Well, Mitch, you're still in the climb, buddy, and best luck to you for all. A shout out to Mike, man.
Mike's amazing.
Mike Alec is an amazing guitar player.
Not only
and
that,
writer.
he's a brilliant songwriter.
Yeah, and the funny thing about Mike is if you hire him to do a gig with you, it's your gig. He doesn't take over. He doesn't take over. He doesn't come in and try to promote himself. You have to ask him, say, Mike, do a couple of your songs.
He's very humble.
And he's very humble, and he's very good guitar player, yes. Oh, for me, well, I was, as far as gigs, I have none. That's not unusual. I'll be at the local open mics, for sure. I am working on a new project. I missed the analog sound, and I didn't realize how much I really missed it until I worked with Rob Ferris yesterday at his studio, and we did a total acoustic and analog, and I think I'm going to be working on a CD that's going to be strictly analog and acoustic.
Well, instead of CD, you might as well just go vinyl.
Yeah, press it, man.
Oh yeah, well eventually, but I'm talking about the analog.
You can't beat that old vinyl sound. I don't care what.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
And you really digital did some great things for music. It enables studios to be more efficient, but it loses the warmth that you get with the analog.
Well, one thing is you can with digital, you can do one take and doctor it up.
Right.
Whereas analog, you got to do it. You got to do it right. Yeah. There's no cut and paste like it is in.
So you think you're going to take this whole thing you're doing with Rob and maybe do an EP or
yeah, I'm pretty sure I am now. Yeah.
Awesome.
The wife was real well, and I got to give a shout out to the ladies because.
Yep.
They support us and
they keep us in line.
And they keep us in line. and they hear our songs first. The first person who hears my song is my wife. And,
Patty's the first one that hears
and
mine.
if my wife says, I go back and work it. But when she says it, she likes the song, it's usually
but Twyla's pretty sharp. I mean, she knows what's up.
Well, we've been married 40.
She knows what's up.
Years, and
yeah, don't get that one wrong. Hope you're not listening, Twyla.
and she's been real supportive, and she sacrifices. All through life. All through our marriage. Being married to a musician is part of sacrifice for him.
For sure.
Because we're all way out late, and we're spending money on equipment that we really shouldn't be buying.
I think this is the first time I've ever seen you without your wife.
Yeah. I'll find my way home with her, I think.
I hope so.
I got a GPS. No, but she's I can't say anything bad about it right now, about this situation. But I really like the analog sound
Yeah.
of working with Rob Ferris. Back to Mitch, and I guess I'm gonna toot my horn because I can only live on my, what's that called when you live on your
legacy?
on my legacy, on my past.
Your accomplishments.
I wrote a song and it got picked up by Little Roy and Lizzie Long, a bluegrass song, gospel song.
Little Roy Lewis, an amazing banjo player.
Okay.
Yeah.
And they took the song, they liked it, and they actually named her, it was their title track for their album. And then in 2014, it was nominated by the Devil War people for the, it was nominated for Best Bluegrass Gospel Song of the Year 2014. I got to go to Nashville and meet all these people, and that was great.
That's
experience. Awesome. I'd like to repeat that anyway, but
Yeah.
but I was a little guy in a big pond, and it can happen, Mitch.
Yeah.
And that song you got, that All Fall Down. That's an amazing song.
I guess I need to say what happened. When I was in Nashville, I did several. The way you make it, you got to get known, and you got to go to all these open mics and not get paid to play, but you get heard by people. That's the deal in Nashville. And I played that song that I just did tonight. In fact, the Commodore Grill, it sounds hokey. It's the Holiday Inn. It's right beside Vanderbilt Stadium, football stadium.
Right.
And it's in a Holiday Inn in the restaurant. And it
Yes.
sounds like, well, go big deal. But there it is a big deal.
Oh my God!
Debbie
yes,
Champion
I'm familiar with the town.
has been doing that open mic for 27 years. And it's a songwriter's open mic, and she does sets of rounds. Like you'll have from 7:30 to 9, you'll have 9:30, you'll have in threes, they'll get up and they'll do about a half an hour piece of their stuff. And I got to listen to people who had written for everybody from George Strait to whoever. Well, in the last round before I got up, talk about intimidation. The last round before I got up, there was a man in there by the name of Jerry Foster. Jerry he's Hall of Fame songwriter in Nashville. He wrote for Mel Tillis, he wrote for Loretta Lynn, he wrote for Conway Twitty, he wrote for Jerry Lee Lewis, Hank Jr. And the list goes on. He has more. In Nashville, they call it a cut when you write a song and an artist picks it up. He's got more cuts than just about anybody in the town. So here I am listening to this amazing writer, and he is a very good writer. Then what happens with the Commodore Grill is if you get there early enough, the first 8 people get to do an audition. So I made sure I was there. I was eating dinner there at 5 o'clock. Didn't start till 7:30. I got up and I did my song, and we only got one. So I did my song, and I went to pack up, put my guitar back in the case, and this guy, Jerry Foster, walked up to me and said, "Young man, that's a good song." And I'm like, holy cow, Jerry Foster likes my song. That's how I felt.
Did also surprise me when he said young man?
Yeah. Well, he's a good bit older than me. He's like 79 or something like that.
Though, isn't it?
But he said it's relevant. It's what's happening today. And it'll stay relevant because that stuff in society is never going away. He says, you crafted a great song. You don't need to change it. It's great just like it is. And I'm sitting there like, about to pee my pants because this guy is, Nashville personified. Mm-hmm. So that was, and then I walked up and just to thank Debbie, said, thank you for letting me, she didn't talk. She handed me her card, said, email me, we're going to get you in here.
Nice.
And I'm like,
super.
So yeah, I'm excited. We'll see.
You should be. We'll
see what happens.
It's a big deal.
All right. Well, Mitch Hayes, you're on Facebook at Mitch Hayes Music, right?
Facebook.com/Mitch Hayes Music, and I'm also on MitchHayesMusic.com.
How about your video on YouTube, man?
Oh yeah.
We'll put that in the show notes for sure.
Well, All Fall Down, that song, there's a video for it on YouTube.
Yes.
Just search Mitch Hayes All Fall Down, you'll find it.
Very good.
And Don, you'll just have to be lucky and find him at an open mic somewhere.
Probably.
Usually, let's see, Wired Express in Kannapolis. So you find him at Summit Coffee.
Shout out to Wire Express.
Yes.
Thursday.
Thursday. Is it this Thursday?
Yes.
And he comes and does the one I host at
Give
Copper
yours,
Ale House.
Copper Ale House, yep.
And-
I alternate that with Matt Minshew.
Matt
And then
Minshew.
first Thursday of the month, I do a open mic at the Wine Room. And I'm always amazed by the talent that comes. And some young,
Yes,
very,
yeah,
very young
yes,
kids come
yes.
out and play. So.
Yes.
But
And
Don will
then-
show up for that. But Don's gigging when he gets the opportunity.
And
No
there's
one's
a
going to
Wednesday.
tell you he's not.
There's a Wednesday at Little Roberts.
Yep.
And where's Tuesday's gigs at?
Oh well, Shannon Lee does her jam at Moochie's in
Moochie's.
Matthews.
Yeah, so
That's
that-
incredible. You'll have 45 players, extremely high level players come out, and she just puts them all together in bands and sticks them up on the stage.
Well, that's pretty cool.
And they just
Yes.
play. They just jam together. They're so good they can just start jamming and get it.
Well, then Mo from Mo's Art, don't he do the acoustic session on the outside now?
Does he?
I think
I know
he
he's
does.
done. I've done it. I know he's. I think he has.
Yeah, I think he does it. And then the second Thursday of the month, Rob McHale does his Songwriter Circle
At the Summit-
showcase at
Summit
the
Coffee.
So there's a lot of
lot of
opportunities to hear live music.
Awesome. All right, guys. Thanks for stopping by today and taking some time.
And thank you for
Thank you for having us.
supporting
This has
and
been
helping live
amazing.
music, man.
We've had a blast.
You're welcome.
All right, thanks for listening. Hopefully this comes in clear. I'm actually cutting this from a chair, sitting in the water on the Catawba with my kayak. So, anyway, Mitch Hayes, Don Eidman, great songwriters, so fun to talk to. Try to keep it on track. It's crazy times. Anyway, like I said, thanks for listening. Share us to your friends. You can find us and download us and subscribe to us on iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, and anywhere you download your podcasts. Or you can check us out at PiedmontArtistProfiles.libsyn.com. That's PiedmontArtistProfiles.libsyn.com, Libsyn. So, yeah. Oh, yeah, check out our friends over at failoverradio.com, failoverradio.com. Listen to live musicians streaming just like Pandora, but better because they're locals. Anyway, until next time, peace.